Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Where is everyone?
I don't know. We seem to have this routine, don't we? It's you and me. You're pretty timely. I'm sure because Leslie and Sharon have both posted just recently, so I think they'll be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I've just posted as well.
I noticed. Yeah. Well done for getting used to overcoming the self-talk and
Yeah. I
yeah.
haven't. I still haven't. I was thinking about it and I thought that sounds really ungrateful. What I said about not looking at it, and I thought, why? Why am I? And I just thought because I am full of this doubt. And last week when we had the meeting, I said I felt galvanized. I went back and I drafted the initial Facebook. I'm going to do it on Instagram, but I'll put it on Facebook, or I'm going to. And the initial thing that I typed ages ago, I've never posted big things on social media before, so I don't know if there's a certain way of writing and whether there's a word limit or anything. And I looked at it and I thought, actually, why didn't I post that ages ago? Because it's not bad. It doesn't need, I kept thinking, oh, it needs lots of work. And it doesn't really. And I thought it was interesting that I was more positive about what I read of the post that I did a while ago this time than I was then. And then I still didn't post it because I thought once I've posted it, that's it. I've then got to keep up and keep doing this thing. And why am I fearful of doing that? Why am I fearful of the commitment of having to post something 3 times a week or whatever?
Yeah.
Anyway, so, and then the thing with yours was, would it be so brilliant that I just think, oh, Geraldine, your idea is so crass. And that's what I think it was, that if I looked at something else on the same subject, I just think, oh, someone else is going to be able to do it much better than me, and what's the point? And that's again my complete loss of confidence.
Yeah. That's where that's clearly where we want to work, and I think there's nothing wrong in getting to that point where with social media you do need to commit. If it's something that's important, you need to reach that point where you make that decision of, okay, so what is, there might be a crash in a minute, I just moved my keyboard, I sort of slip, so if it's a sudden crash, it's falling off. It's just when you're ready to make a commitment. So, but actually in some ways, just figure out how many times am I willing to do it, how much of my life am I willing to commit to it, and then just do it. Because,
and the silly thing is, I've got a lot of the material. I've been collecting. I've been thinking when I've been reading books or I've watching films. Any reference to letters and things like that, and letter writing, and I've got all sorts of things that I can post. And it's I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've just got to commit to it and do it.
Well, part of that, think about it. Part of that is possibly to do. Hi, Leslie.
Hello. Sorry.
Right. No, it's fine. You get. Part of that is to do with your legal training, because if you think about it, if you're doing law, you have to prepare. Like, you can't do anything until that. So you are having to make an adjustment in the way you work, because it's so give yourself some credit there. It's not, it's learning a different way of doing things. That's part of it.
Rather than just going with the flow and just, see, everything's got to be, I feel as though there's something about me that I have got to have guarantees that what I do is going to be good before I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just take a risk and just see what happens. And I don't know why I feel, it's just something in me, I think.
Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. Is that familiar? Anything familiar to you, Leslie?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I think the theme this week, the theme on Friday, so today we just, is about chatting and then having a nice little session. But the theme is about, I call it putting yourself first, but actually when you dive deeper, it is that whole, when we talk about putting ourselves first, it sounds like, oh, I'll have my hair done, or I'll go for a massage, which is nice, but it's actually deeper than that. It's actually about doing things for you without the fear of, is this going to be judged by somebody else? Is it as good as somebody else? It is more about that. So it's quite timely that that's what you're thinking.
And the thing that I'm doing isn't anything to do with making money. It's not.
Oh no, never. No, that's yeah.
That's another thing though. Maybe I'm thinking, well, this isn't going to bring me an income, so you know. But it's just something I feel strongly about, and that's why I want to do it. But yeah, but maybe that's why I'm fearful about the time commitment as well. But anyway,
yeah.
Is that your letter writing thing?
Yeah, I was just
yeah. But Leslie, well done you. Leslie's, you've been having a bit of a clear out.
I know. It was
You've
like
been running.
bionic woman. I just read it before what you've been doing.
I thought, what have I done? And I just had to make myself sit down and think, what have I done this week?
Yeah.
Rather than just thinking, oh, it was stuff.
Yeah.
Which usually I would have done. But I thought, well, actually, I was quite pleased with the path when I'd cleared all the leaves, till a few more came down, which obviously they will be doing from now on. But a few minutes. So yeah. And taking a whole load of yucky stuff from the garden to the tip, and then I had to get my car cleaned. I didn't do it myself, but yes, it
better.
Like delegation.
Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah, costs, but
yeah.
I'd been putting that off for a while to get it clean, because I knew that I'd got to go and put disgusting stuff inside it. So it was just quite nice to sort of like, oh, okay, it's my car again. It's not a rubbish bin.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about how, you've been putting it off for a while, because that's one of the things that keeps our buckets quite full, when we put things off, because it keeps coming back in our heads, or that whole must, should, need.
Oh, I've got a lot of those anyway, but it's nice to get rid of some of them.
It is. And sometimes you think, well, not sometimes, nearly always, you think, why did I not do this before? I feel so much better that I've done this now. I've been having a bit of a clear out here, and I've rearranged my desk at least 3 times. It may change again, but I think sometimes you just need that. It's a little clear out of your desk or your space or your garden. It does. In fact, it is scientifically proven that clutter of whatever description does contribute to overloading that bucket, because your brain is taking in everything all the time, and so when there's lots of things around, Sharon, it's constantly creating a feedback loop about what do I need to do something with that. Hello.
Sorry, I just finished work. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Love the top. Yeah. So I'm just talking about how clutter causes problems in the mind, because there's this feedback loop that all the time is going, do I need to do something with that? Do I need to do something with that? Do I need to do something with that? And the more of the stuff you have around, the more that loop, and it's not achieving anything other than getting you more overwhelmed. So when you do have a little clear out, that's why you go, oh,
yeah,
lovely. Hello, nice to see you. I think this might be, I have a sense, so I don't know what's going on with Jackie, but it's not unusual. As you know, I've worked with Jackie before. This tends to happen. I was hoping she might be able to get here, but I'm hoping she's listened to the recordings. And
have you pressed record?
Pardon? If I press record, yes, thank you. I have.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what? I've been on Zoom meetings all day with work, all day, and I've no battery left on my phone, and I can't get onto this using the laptop, so I'm standing balancing it on the microwave whilst I'm charging it.
The things we do, eh?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just if it tips, we know what's going on with you.
Yes.
Yeah. And Sue has decided to go on a 3-week retreat in Ibiza. So that's lovely, but it means she's not joining us. But it's useful just plugging into that, because we're in week 3. When there's something that happens in week 3 of courses, mainly, not so much online, but even online, in person, I mean. Even in person, when you get to week 3, you either begun to turn a bit of a corner or you haven't. And either way, it feels like when you turn that corner, you go, great, you're more committed, you're more in to what you're doing. And if you haven't yet started to turn that corner, then obviously little doubts creep in. And a similar process goes on with courses, with training, with education. By week 3, something happens where we start off with such gusto. Yes, right. I'm sorry, I'm banging things. I'm going to do this. And then that kind of enthusiasm starts to wane a bit and other stuff happens. And it's quite easy around week 3 to kind of just drift away. And clearly, I'm hoping none of you are going to do that. But I thought, just before we get into the stuff that you've already posted, which is lovely, let's just do something a little bit light and frothy and fun and very nearly pointless. I thought it might be fun to just share. Think of your name, either your first name, your middle name, or your last name, and tell a little story about how, well, it could be something you feel about it or a story related to it or how you got the name. Would it help if I kicked off to give a sense of what the hell I'm talking about? I'm taking that as a sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've hated the name Shirley for as long as I can remember. I'm kind of just about coming to terms with it now, but I'm still not really loving it. And the story of how I got my name was that my brothers are 7 and 9 years older than me. So obviously I'm the baby of the litter. And my mother and my father, what on earth induced them? They obviously thought, oh, let's ask the boys what to call the baby. And so they came up with Shirley. And I to this day, I kind of don't forgive them. So that's how I got the name Shirley. Anyone else like to share a little story about their name? Any part of it?
Well, apparently, my mum always I think there was an actress or a singer called Leslie Ann, Ann without an E, and she always wanted to call a child Leslie Ann, so that was me because I'm the first. But I often have to spell it, and if I have to use my middle name, I have to say without an E.
Yeah.
So that's the story of my first names. My maiden name was Smith, which is obviously quite different from what I've got now.
Yeah.
And I think there was only one time when I actually had to spell it. When I think it was when I went to a shoe repair shop, left my shoes for repair, and they said, "What's the name?" And so I said Smith. And when I went back to collect it, it said Smig with 2 G's. Really. But nowadays, I have to spell my surname most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can give you a story of that as well, because obviously that's my husband's surname. And when he didn't realise that it wasn't actually his father's surname when his father was first born. My husband was born in Australia, but his parents were born in Fiji, and some of their ancestors came from India. I think it was when we were trying to get his British citizenship that we needed all the background information. So I managed to get copies of birth certificates and everything. And it turns out that his dad's surname was Din. That's D-I-N. And his first names were, his first name, I can't remember how it comes now, it was Rampatap, as in all one word. Now, he has since messed about with his name so many times Don't quite know how he's managed to do it, because I'm sure he doesn't change it by dipole or anything. But so he was Ram Pratap Din, but by the time he met and married my mother-in-law, he'd changed it to Ram as his first name and Pratap as his surname, and ignored the Din. Pratap is an Indian king or prince or something. It's some royal name anyway, so maybe he liked the sound of that, I don't really know. And it sort of ran off the tongue a bit like that. Could be that they were a bit illiterate as well, and they didn't actually write it down as his parents had expected. Anybody's guess on that bit. But he's changed it. He then, after they got divorced, at some point hyphenated himself, so he was Pratap Din, and I'm not sure what he's using at the moment. He keeps changing. I think it's just might be Din, but it's all very, very, very odd. But yes, we have to spell it quite a lot and tell people how to pronounce it.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I didn't know it was pronounced like that until this very moment. So yeah.
Oh yes, we get Pratap, Pratap. People
Yeah.
put the R in the wrong place, or too many. Or...
Yeah. Still, it's a good story.
Yeah.
Did you want to share a story while you're balancing your phone on the microwave?
I was just thinking that, but I'm not sure. I haven't really got a story about my name, don't think.
Not even a middle name?
No, I've got my middle name. Not really, just kind of after grands and nanas. Nothing really.
Oh, that's nice.
That's all right. It's never really. Yeah. I was just thinking, oh, that's really dull. I haven't really got a
not
story on it at all.
No, it's not dull. It's a nice, I think maybe because it's a nice, straightforward name, isn't it? It's nice and easy to pronounce. It's, there's nothing strange in it, because people put all kinds of weird spellings into names these days as well, don't they? And yeah, why not? It's good that you don't have a story.
Actually, I do have one. No, it's not a story. It's something that really used to hurt me. 80s, I think it was. What were they called? Oh, Birds of a Feather.
Yeah.
Sharon and Tracy.
Yes. Yeah.
So that used to come at me quite a lot. Oh, where's Tracy?
Yeah.
That's about the only thing I can say, though.
I must admit, yeah, I get the oh God, what's that? Airplane. Stop calling me Shirley. Yeah, that's annoying.
I remember that.
Blaming my brothers. Jeremy, did you want to share a quick story about your name?
Yeah, my mum had 3 boys before she had me, and the oldest one is 15 years older than me. It's 15. She had children from between the ages of 20 and 35. And she said she always wanted a girl, and she had a boy, then 8 years later another boy, then 7 years later another boy, and then 18 months after the last boy she had me. So I don't know if she was expecting whether she thought she was going to have another boy, but she hadn't come up with a name for me. And we were all born at home, and the midwife was Irish for me. And when she said, oh, you've got a girl, and what are you going to call her? She said, oh, I don't know. And I won't try and do an Irish accent because I can't, despite my name. and she said, Geraldine's a lovely name. Why don't you call her Geraldine? And my mum thought, my mum actually had a cousin called Geraldine. So she thought, oh yeah, so that's how I got my name. But then I'm Margaret after my maternal grandmother. And then I'm Anne because I was brought up a Catholic, and we get confirmed at a certain age, and then we choose a saint's name, and I chose Anne. But then a lot of people say, oh, which part of Ireland are you from? And then I say, well, actually I'm not, because my name Riley, although I'm married, I still got my maiden name. Riley is an old Lancashire name, and there's no Irish on my dad's side of the family. And obviously there's Riley, Irish Riley, which is usually spelled R-E-I-L-L-Y. But there is Irish on my mum's side, but only going back to, I think, the her great-great-grandfather. But yeah, so everyone assumes I'm Irish because of my name, and I'm not. But it doesn't matter. But when I was talking on the phone to somebody, I can't remember what it was. It was either the bank or it was something to. It was some call that I was making. Not someone who knew me. And she asked me for my middle initials, and she knew my name was Geraldine Riley. She asked for my middle initials, and she went, let me think, Margaret Ann. I said, and she just assumed because I was Geraldine Riley, I must be Irish, and the MA must stand for. She said, it's either going to be Mary Ann or Margaret Ann. Yeah, yeah. So the midwife named me Geraldine, and Margaret after my grandmother, and Riley after my dad, which is a Lancashire name.
It's really nice with these stories. So clearly no real purpose there, just to kind of just break, so that you don't feel the pressure of what's happened this week, what's been good, your numbers, which you've all been magnificent at posting. And I just want to congratulate, because I think one of the things I kind of noticed creeping in with the comments was a little bit of I haven't made much progress, and that's quite common. People think they haven't, but it's about the journey you've been on, which is why I've always wanted you to put it into the group, so that you could see, if you scroll back, where did this number start. And it has, without exception, I know Leslie, obviously you joined the week later, but it has moved forward. So even if it's felt like it's stuck like between this week and last week, it's still higher than at the beginning, and that's what's important. And the other thing I want to emphasize before we talk about it a little bit more is something I think I said, when I was setting out, okay, here's how the course will work, these are the things that I want you to think about, this is what will happen. To be mindful that your journey is your journey. We were talking a bit just before, Leslie and Sharon, before you arrived, about comparison, how we compare ourselves to how we, to either, it's not necessarily an individual, it's not necessarily a specific person we're comparing ourselves to, it's just someone out there doing it better than us. And I think that's particularly important, just to come back to, especially when we're working in a group. And I know that you're not comparing with one another, but to never feel like, oh, my number's not as high as that, or oh God, that sounds like a bigger achievement than I've achieved, or any of that, because the only person to compare yourself with is who you were when you started. That's it. I just wanted to reinforce that. So having said that, even though you've all posted, what other things, in fact, no, let me just share with you something, because I thought, I'm always putting you all on the spot and going, oh, so tell me, what's happening with you. And I rarely put myself on the spot. So I thought, oh, maybe I should do this. And because I don't do it all the time, I'm thinking, well, you need to practice this, Shirley, because you're telling people this is what they need to be doing. And it reminded me of something that's quite important. So when I first began this for myself, I began a bit like the gratitude I think I mentioned last week with, oh, I'm really glad. So there was this nice thing, oh, I spoke to my mum, or the sun shined, or do you know what I mean? The sun shined, the sun shone, I don't know. And it would be things relatively external, but things that, okay, yeah, I suppose that was quite nice, or I went out and we had a coffee somewhere. So it was always very external to me. And then when I started to make the shift, which is what I was reminded of this morning, the shift is about, what did I do that demonstrated to me that I was making progress? So what I want to share with you today about what I've done this week that I'm quite pleased about was, I had to do another video because we're running some more webinars, and my techie guy goes, oh, look, here's the script, just do this video. And it's so easy. It's 2 minutes of a video, 2 minutes, nothing. But I hate video with a vengeance. I really hate it. And I get caught up in all the, can't do that, oh God, people who think this and people who think that, and no, my hair's not right, I need to change my top, you know, like all of that stuff comes in. And it, for 2 minutes, it could take me all day and I'll still not be happy in it. But this week I just thought, pull yourself together, woman. Just get the damn thing done. So it took me an hour and a half, but it wasn't perfect. My hair certainly wasn't perfect. The light on it was all right. There were loads of things not right about it, but I was really pleased that I had moved past the whole it's got to be right thing and just gone with, do you know what? This is who I am and I'll get better at it. And so that's where I'm quite pleased. That's my highlight of the week. So I don't know if that's helpful or not. Does anyone want to share anything now they've heard me tell that story that maybe suddenly dawned on you about something you've done that you'd forgotten about, or what you've already posted?
I think the thing that I was just mentioning before, Shirley, before Sharon and Leslie joined us, about the getting on with this thing I want to do, and going back and looking at the initial post the initial thing that I'd written to post on social media to launch the whole thing, and how I kept thinking I've got to go back and make that right and sort it out and make it better, and it was dreadful, and it's just so, it makes my toes curl thinking about I'm going to put this out there and people will think this, that and the other. And then when I read it again, I thought, actually that's not that bad, that's okay, that's enough. And I don't think I would have felt that a few weeks ago, because in the back of my mind I knew I'd done this, I'd written this a while ago, and in the back of my mind I was, oh gosh, I need to go back and work on it, and shall I bother, and shall I just scrap the whole idea? And then when I actually read it, I thought, oh, actually that's not bad. So I think there's been a more positive shift. Now I've just got to get over the fear of actually just doing it.
Yeah.
Really, you'd think I was, trying to launch a rocket into space or something, the way I'm going on about this thing, and it's not, anyway, yeah. So at least I've made that progress and thought, actually, you know what, that's not bad at all, and I'll just get on with it.
I think that's great progress, and what you were saying about the analogy with it's not a rocket into space. But the thing is, this is really important, like, our hurdles or our challenges are the equivalent of rockets into space. Like, it's not about what someone else thinks of that. Like, someone else might go, oh, that's really easy, but they've got their own hurdles. So it's you knowing that for you, it's the equivalent of launching a rocket into space to be able to actually do this. And that's what matters, that you make the differences with things that have caused you so much trouble in the past. And that's where you make the progress, and that's what it's about. So well done. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Leslie or Sharon, do you want to go? Because you've got on with some things this week.
I don't know there's much more to say than what I put in the post, actually.
Well, do you just want to share, just in case Geraldine and Sharon haven't had a chance to have a look?
I have to remember now.
What? I have seen it. I just before I came on, I read that.
Yeah, I was writing it. I was thinking, oh, actually, that is quite a lot. Well, yes, the one thing that I was saying to you two before Sharon arrived, the actual clearing of leaves in the garden down a path. My husband was busy raking the lawn, and he said, oh, do you want to do that path after I'd done something else? Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And it was self-contained. It's not a massive long path, but I blew all the leaves, raked them all, swept them all up, put them in the bins, and looked and thought, oh, really pleased with that. That's nice and clear. Okay, it's not clean because the paving slabs could do with a bit of a wash, but you wouldn't do that this time of the year. And so I thought, oh, I sort of felt really pleased with that. And then I went on and did a few more bits and pieces in the garden, and did a bit of clearing at the end of the garden, and took some piled my car up ready to take to the dump on Monday, because I've been very organised and got my slot, because that's how you have to do it now, and put all these bags of leaves and garden rubbish and a disgusting looking parasol and various other horrendous things into my car. And of course it's me that does it all, and I'm carrying all this heavy stuff and whatever. But to have then taken it to the tip, got rid of it all into all its appropriate containers. That's the second lot, because I did take another lot from that rented house the other week as well. So it just felt, oh yes, we've been saying, you know, we need to clear the end of the garden for some time, and so that was another, oh yeah, you know, feels good that I've done that. So that was good. I know last week I said I was going to start knitting the cardigan for my grandson. Didn't quite manage that, and actually looking at my notes, it says go and find a pattern and wool for Levi's cardigan, and then after that I put start. But I achieved the first bit. I went and bought some patterns and some wool, but then I had to check with her what size I was actually knitting, so I haven't started it yet. But you know, to have actually gone and made some choices and bought something was an achievement as well. And then my couch to 5K, just to give a bit of background, because I don't know whether I mentioned this before. I did do it all. I did the whole 9 weeks. Started somewhere in towards the beginning of lockdown, having gone out for walks occasionally and decided that I just needed to do something different. So I pushed myself and did the couch to 5K. Not quite sure that I achieved a whole 5K, but I certainly ran for 30 minutes, which ultimately is what you're doing with that. And then I was carrying on doing a few runs.
Somebody at my door, excuse me, sorry.
And then somehow I damaged something in my foot, my ankle, I don't know where, but I basically stopped for a bit while we sort of worked out what was wrong with my foot. And of course I couldn't really see anybody about it, but physio gave me some exercises. It sort of seemed to ease off, but it sort of took me a long time to get back into deciding that I needed to run again. Oh, having said that, I had several weeks full of sinusitis and whatever, so there was no way I was going out and trying to run and breathe and everything else. So it must have been over a good 2 months since I'd done anything. So when the weather was a bit better last week, I thought, right, I'm going to start this, but I am going back to the beginning because I don't want to put pressure on my foot too soon. So I've done the first 3 runs, which is the first week. They're all the same, but it just seemed much easier than the previous time, which is, you know, it's good because obviously I am a lot fitter. But even having had that couple of months break without doing a vast amount of anything, I've, you know, felt quite an achievement just picking up and getting those first 3 runs. And ultimately it's you walk more than you run, but I thought, no, I am going to go back to the beginning because I don't want to. I could have started somewhere in the middle where I thought I was going to be a bit more challenged, but I thought, no, I'm going to build up to it and check that my foot can cope with it. So,
well, I think that's really good. And what I liked, one of the things you mentioned that I think was really important to just draw attention to when you talked about the knitting, and you said that you'd written down that you were going to buy a pattern and choose some wool, and then the other bit was start, and you achieved the buy the pattern and get the wool, which is fantastic, and no one's going to go, oh yeah, but you didn't start. But when we do those generic things like start, like what does that actually mean? It doesn't kind of give you something specific to grasp, does it? Whereas if you'd said, maybe next week you might say, not I'm a knitter, but you might say knit 5 rows or whatever it is. that then is something tangible that you can go, okay, I know what I'm doing here, instead of, you know, a bit like you, Geraldine, with the launch. If you say launch my letter writing project, that's like, oh my God, that's huge. Instead of what you did, which is read back through something I've written and go, oh, actually, that was quite good. And it is just chunking things down to the smallest thing. You make the biggest progress, which is what that Couch to 5K, that's why that's so good, because it does that with the running, doesn't it? It just breaks it down. Go, start here, do this. And you think, I'll never be able to do this. But before you know it, you're running 5K. So, Sharon, are you up for sharing? Is your phone charged a bit now?
Ish, but my son just came in and out. I thought, I'll move. It's tricky for me today because I'm not really in the right headspace at the moment. I've got such huge deadlines on me for today, tomorrow, this week.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to I'm loving hearing what everyone's doing. I think it's lovely. But my mind's like, I need to get this work done.
He's somewhere else.
And so I can't kind of focus on what's in my life. I mean, it's lovely. I'm just listening to other people thinking, yeah, that's really positive. But my life seems so far away at the moment because I just can't do my life until I get this work done.
Yeah, I totally.
That sounds really soft. Sounds really.
Can I just come in? Sorry, Shirley. Can I?
No, I just want to say, first of all, I'll give yourself credit for the fact that despite all of that, one of the things you can give yourself credit for is showing up here, like still committing to this, to yourself. That is worthy of, you know, don't compare with what you maybe did last week. The very act of just showing up and listening and being present and committing to, even though your head is full of stuff, is worthy of celebration. Sorry, Geraldine, did you want to say something?
I was about to say that.
Oh, right.
I was just about to say, well, at least you're here. You know, that means you're here.
Yeah. I was trying to think of him. I suppose if I looked at it last week, it's just not I think for me, nothing is registering as positive, because the repercussions for me of not getting this work done are massive. So I can't really relate to anything else being positive because I'm just so worried about the next couple of weeks at work.
Right.
But if I'm being really objective, I kind of think I went out for a meal with my son whilst we took him on his last university spree shop, and that was lovely. But it has absolutely disappeared amongst the overwhelmed feeling of the work. So I know it's there. I know there's been good stuff, but it's gone into the background hugely.
Yeah. Well, but there was also something last week where okay, I know you said, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but the very fact that you were able to think, well, hang on a minute, wouldn't it be great if I could stand my ground and kick back a little bit? Yeah, no, I know, but just
it didn't happen.
Just having that thought is a step forward. It may not seem like it is yet, but it is. And I think maybe let's just focus in for a moment on you giving yourself a bit of credit for all that you are managing to cope with in work, and the fact that you are delivering these reports, irrespective of what someone else says about them, that you know that you're creating something that is of value, you're achieving it. You know, can you focus in on that?
No, not at the moment, because I'm not getting the volume of work done that they are turning out. So to me, that's no. So I know what I'm doing is okay when I do it, but there's so much coming out, I'm just not able to. And I've had a few days off, and there's no accounting for that. So now I've got a huge backlog to come back to. So I don't really want to discuss work. That's not what we're here for.
That's fine. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I completely get. I've just let that takes up too much space, and that's not fair on everyone else. It's just my headspace is slightly different right at the moment. That's all.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But don't feel that this is for your space as well as everybody else, and helping you. You know, if it makes you feel tense, then we absolutely don't want that. That's definitely not what we want to be doing. But you know, helping you feel that you're achieving more than actually you realise. That's the simple purpose of the conversation. Yeah. I suspect, no matter what you're saying, that if you look back at what you achieved before the break, I bet someone else would go, I can't believe you've done all this. You know, I bet your bottom dollar someone else would go, what, you did that, you did that, you did that, you did that. Oh my goodness. I think, you know, if you can at some point have a bit of an umbrella view of what you're achieving and how well you're doing, that might help to just, if no one else is going to give you credit for anything, you start giving credit for yourself. Yeah, with Geraldine, of going, actually, this is quite good. This is quite good. Just trusting your judgment as well, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Let's let everybody chill for a little while then. So I don't know how easy it is for everyone to be able to chill. Sharon, I don't know where you're balanced. You're going to stand on one leg with with your arm in the air. But
no, I'm sat down. It's fine.
Good. Well, everyone get yourself as comfortable as you can. And I think if we all switch off the video to try to maintain the audio quality, that would be